All right. Well, first, happy Father's Day to every father that is out there, either in the congregation with us today or online. And so today we are, as you see, we have some very special song leaders today. We have the micro version of the Joyful Voices. The micro voices, if you will, but they may be small, but they are mighty. I am John Moody, your music director and bass player. We have Dave Van Haren playing drums with us today. And then we are pleased to welcome Dean Madonia here for not only just playing piano with us, but he will also be doing the special music. And if Dean looks familiar, you have probably seen him in many of the dueling piano bars in and around the West Michigan area. He is not one to stay just sedentary. So if you're able to, why don't you please stand as we go through our congregational tunes.
Beneath thy hand, live forever. us together, together in love. Among those who we did not know, our unity, only diversity. Now the Christ in me greets the Christ in thee, in one great family. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, together in love.
Good morning, Unity of Kalamazoo. I am Beth, your platform person for today. Thank you, Julie, for the wave. And thank you to everyone who has made the service possible today. Our script, hospitality, bookstore, upstairs, our audio and streaming teams do a great job. The ushers, PowerPoint, youth leaders, and of course our wonderful music team and special singers for today. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, now is a great time to silence your cell phone. If this is your first time with us, we have a small gift bag for you after service. Just fill out the card in the pew pocket and hand it to an usher when you leave. Thanks for joining us today. Announcements. Today, we have our very own Donna Odom here to present a talk on the book Our Hidden Conversations by Michelle Norris. Next week, Reverend Judy will talk about cultivating capacity, why we need it now. Then, coming up on June 30th, we have a fifth Sunday in our programming this month where we are able to invite an additional speaker from the community to come in and share their experience with us. Stacy Ledbetter will be here to talk about her work with the Douglas Community Association, where she is the current leader. Stacy is dedicated to operating in integrity, equity, and inclusion, networking and embarking upon transformative collaborations, building positive relationships, and providing local youth with opportunities to learn, grow productively, and expand their horizons. She also has 25 plus years in law enforcement. It will be an inspiring Sunday for sure. Our DEI summer read is Kindred by Octavia Butler. We will have a discussion on it on July the 14th. Save the date. On July 21st, we will have our annual outing to watch the Growlers play the Battle Creek Battlejacks. It is always a lot of fun. Another quick reminder is choir practice is Monday at 5:30. And a special shout out to all of our dads today. It is Father's Day. Round of applause for our adult spirits who have guided others in that role of fatherly love and strength. And we can't tell you enough how much you're appreciated. All right, let's get started by joining in our mission statement. As an all-inclusive community, we awaken to spirit, grow into our souls, and build a better world. Our vision here at Unity of Kalamazoo: we celebrate a world of ever-awakening consciousness, abundance, peace, and love for all. Our core values, remember, no and in this list. Ready? Love, authenticity, stewardship, oneness, playfulness, and our land and labor acknowledgement. Our spiritual community acknowledges Black, Indigenous, and people of color whose lands and labor were forcibly taken. We pledge to promote understanding, equity, justice, and inclusivity. Now it's time to acknowledge our youth here and in the community. Together we warm up our hands and send some energy, and we say, as you go your way, know that you are loved, special, and important to us.
One life, one love, one peace in our lifetime, one life at a time. One truth, one world, one peace in our lifetime, one life at a time. One life, one love, one life at a time. One truth, one world, one life at a time. One voice, one choice, one peace in our lifetime, one life at a time. One prayer, one dream, one peace in our lifetime, one life at a time. One voice, one choice, one life at a time. One prayer, one dream, one life at a time. One life, one love, one peace in our lifetime, one life at a time. One truth, one world, one peace in our lifetime, one life at a time. One life, one love, one life at a time. One truth, one world, one life at a time.
We continue our service today with a reading of today's daily word. Today's daily word is Father's blessing. I bless my Father with loving thoughts of gratitude. Today, I bless my Father and the father figures I have known with thoughts of love and appreciation. The man I call Father may or may not be related to me, but he has touched my life with love. I give thanks for those fatherly figures who selflessly gave their time and love to help me grow into the person I am today. Their demonstrations of patience showed me how to give others space and time. Their humor and lightheartedness taught me not to take myself too seriously. Their guidance and trust encouraged me to be independent and trust myself. I would not be the person I am today without the lessons of love and wisdom shared by my Father. In so many ways, he gave me a strong foundation on which I built my life. I am grateful and blessed with all he has given me. Honor your father. Matthew 15, verse 4. Now, let's take a few moments to settle in to the silence. Get in a comfortable position in your seat with your feet flat on the floor. Allow your hands to rest gently in your lap. And if comfortable, close your eyes to allow yourself to connect within. Feel the seat supporting your body, and know you are safe here in this sacred place. Breathe in slowly and exhale with ease, focusing on connecting with our deeper truth, our unlimited spirit, the love that we are. Let go of thoughts that try to pull you back to the doing of the day. Our only real job is to connect. Connect with the power of God within us and all around us. Each and every one of us has a lived experience. It is the story that narrates our life. We have a unique history, each one of us. But we also have a shared existence. The omniscient, omnipresent Holy Spirit that connects all of us. As we strive to know others, support and appreciate others' differences, we must remember to start at the true beginning. Before we talk with our neighbors, co-workers, fellow congregants, strangers, pause. Connect first to their spirit. That will guide all communication through a lens of love and compassion. Bring someone to mind who is very different from you. They may have a different cultural background or political affiliation. In the past, we may have prejudged this person or had a response to them based on limited information or experience. Now, picture a warm glow emanating from them, a light shining from their heart. What if we knew deeply that they are spiritual beings having a human experience? We can choose to take down the walls we build around our hearts, coexist, and be curious about others while maintaining our own certainty that we are God manifesting. We are equally important and powerful. We are worthy. Let's see God's light in everyone and live the truth we believe, that we will build a better world through each and every interaction we have with one another. Let's rest a few moments feeling completely connected and in the flow of spirit. Now, with another deep, cleansing breath, let's begin to return our attention to the sanctuary. Take one more deep breath and awaken, feeling renewed and centered in the grace that you are.
I saw a homemade sign by the side of the road, and it caught more than my eye. It just said God underneath an arrow, pointed up at the sky. I had to look around just in case, but all I saw were clouds and empty space. I'm looking for signs, looking for a little peace of mind. I'm waiting on the end of time, where I don't know what I'll find. When I open that door, then I know what I've been searching for. On the road around about, right to divine, I'm looking for signs. Last chance gas just up the road, the attendant smiled and waved. His whiskey water eyes looked through my soul, and he asked if I was saved. I was running late, so I just said yes. When you're talking God, more is less. I'm looking for signs, looking for a little peace of mind. I'm waiting on the end of time, where I don't know what I find. When I open that door, then I know what I've been searching for. On the road around about, right to divine, I'm looking. If I was running on faith, I'd be running on fumes. This world must be more than just a waiting room for the promised land that's been promised to some chosen few. I made it all the way to the crossroads, and the Father of all lies. He looked like every president, and so I drove on by, looking for signs, looking for signs. Won't you show me some signs?
Love that. Isn't music wonderful? Yeah. Well, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. How many fathers out there? A few, yes. Happy Father's Day. And we're also observing Juneteenth, so doing a little bit of both. As kind of an introduction, I wanted to kind of reinforce and repeat some of the thoughts I shared with you last year on Juneteenth. First one is the hope that with the National Juneteenth holiday, perhaps we can begin to acknowledge and address the issues of the past and the present that have their roots in slavery. Secondly, history shows us that every 50 years or so, the dark forces that oppose freedom and equality, threatened by change, rise and fight for control. We're going through such a period now. And three, acknowledge that it seems that for every step forward, we take two or more back. And those are some of the reasons why this book is important. Here's some more. A book about book bans has just been banned in a Florida school district. Okay? The Anti-Defamation League cites a 700% increase in anti-Semitism. DEI and anti-racism programs are being discontinued throughout the country. And the over 100-year-old survivors of the Tulsa massacre were just denied retribution by the Oklahoma Supreme Court. As Americans, we continue to refuse to face our history. As Ta-Nehisi Coates says, this nation is both its credits and its debits. If Thomas Jefferson matters, so does Sally Hemings. If D-Day matters, so does Black Wall Street. If Valley Forge matters, so does Fort Pillow. Fort Pillow, where most Black Union soldiers were killed rather than taken as prisoners of war by the Confederacy. Because the question really is not whether we'll be tied to the somethings of our past, but whether we are courageous enough to be tied to the whole of them. So the challenge is for each of us in our individual ways to dig down deep within ourselves and find the strength and courage to face our history and think about how we see ourselves and others. Today, I'm sharing with you just some of the words of thousands of Americans who took that challenge and expressed their deeper feelings about race and identity, as reported in Michelle Norris's book, Our Hidden Conversations: What Americans Really Think About Race and Identity, and what Ms. Norris learned from her project. The book reports the results of her experiment with the Race Card Project. It all began when she wrote a memoir about how her family carefully avoided certain conversations. Her hope was that the book would spark candid conversations about race. Her fear was that people might close down if she forced the issue. So she came up with the idea of having people participate in a 6-word exercise. She printed 200 little black postcards with the front saying, "Race, your thoughts, 6 words, please send." She left them everywhere she traveled: bookstores, restaurants, at the information kiosk at airports, on the writing desks at hotels where she stayed, inside the in-flight magazines, at the sugar station at Starbucks. 6 came back within a week, then 12 came, then 20. Eventually, the trickle became a tide. Over time, she realized people were desperate to talk about race. So she created a complimentary website, the Race Card Project. Stories poured in from all over America, from Tokyo, Sydney, Glasgow, and Abu Dhabi, finally over 100 countries. When she saw that some people wanted to say more, she added 2 words to the submission form: Anything else? That changed everything. People sent in poems, essays, memos, and historical documents to explain why they had chosen the 6 words they did. In her words, the collection provides a window into America's heart. At the time of the writing of the book, she had received over 500,000 stories. Many of the people who submitted their stories said they'd never shared them with anyone before. What the project did was give people the opportunity to discuss a topic that is so often taboo, and the opportunity to learn about someone else's journey. What she learned was that people the world over figure out how to divide themselves over dialect, religion, geography, hair texture, access to water, class, caste, and yes, skin color. Always skin color and its light to dark variations. One truth became clearer than ever to her. She realized you're never going to know what's going on inside someone's head or in their soul. If we want to understand how to build a society that celebrates difference, we're going to get a better idea of who they are, what their hopes and aspirations are, how they see the world, and how they see themselves when you hear their stories. The Race Card Project revealed that a lot of people chose to offer clues to their family rather than tell the full stories, that in many cases, they don't just have stories, but secrets. Some of those secrets involve stories of people who enforced segregation, who marched against women's rights, anglicized their family names, passed for white. It's all there in all our pasts and the past of our loved ones. Although we may see slavery and bondage and Jim Crow as part of a distant history, it's not really. The last known survivor of the last known US slave ship only died in 1940. Harriet Tubman and Ronald Reagan actually walked the earth at the same time. Former Confederate soldiers were still alive into the early 1950s. We have to face the reality that when it comes to race, the events of the past have a profound effect on the lives we live today. That won't happen if we ignore our history or try to rewrite it. As George Orwell said, who controls the past controls the future. Here are a few of the cards that reflect how the color of our skin affects all of us every day. And I want you to realize that she got cards from everywhere, every nationality, every ethnicity, okay? Because today is Juneteenth, I'm concentrating on African American, white kind of thing. And as you hear these stories, I want you to think about how they might resonate with you, how they might spark a conversation for you, and how you're reacting to them. From Ronnie Dunn in Cleveland, Ohio, strange fruit in a plum tree. Those were his 6 words. He said, my family was the 3rd African-American family to move onto my street, Gay Avenue, on Oakland's east side in 1964. The grandchildren, a boy and a girl of our kind, elderly white neighbors to the left of us, became my first playmates outside of the home. One spring day in 1965, as my mom did laundry in our basement, and me and my white playmates were playing and climbing in the plum tree in our backyard, their aunt raised a window in the back of the house and called for them to come in the house. And don't ever let me catch you playing with that N-word again. They climbed down from the tree confused and went into the house. I stayed there sitting in the tree for what must have been several minutes, not grasping what had happened and that they really were not coming back out to play. I climbed down from the tree, crossed to my backyard, and rang the side doorbell. My mom came up the stairs and unlocked the door. She asked, "Why are you coming in the house?" I fumbled over the words as I tried to explain to her what had occurred and what my playmates had said. A somber expression came over my mother as she bent down to pick me up and carried me into our living room, and she set me in her lap, and we sat in my dad's favorite recliner. She picked me up, and she picked up a volume of children's books, Bible stories, that was placed next to the chair. On the cover of this book was a picture of the typical European image of Jesus sitting on a large rock surrounded by multiracial children of various nationalities. And my mother used this to teach me about race and to explain to me how some people think they are better than others based on the color of their skin. She told me that no one was any better than I am. That was my introduction to the concept of race and racism, a lesson that I was forced to learn before I even started kindergarten. I never played with my playmates again. This is from Kristen Moorhead in Maryland. Her 6 words were, "I wish she was a girl." I've always told my son, you can be anything you want to be. His possibilities are infinite. Yes, but there is a cruel catch. You can be anything you want to be, but first you must survive, and your survival is dependent on knowing this. You are young, black, male, perceived guilty until proven innocent. From Clyde Jasper in Oakland, California. Good morning, but there's no response. I'm a tall black man with dreadlocks. I'm a husband and a father. I'm a property owner and a taxpayer. I'm a veteran. I vote. I graduated Phi Beta Kappa from a world-class university in Berkeley. In passing, I many times acknowledge a white person's presence and humanity with a good morning, and they look at me but don't respond. From Peggy Magnuson in San Pedro, California. I'm the blonde on the bus. In exchange for the stress of freeway traffic, I have begun taking the bus to and from work. For most of my life, I have lived in largely white, upper middle class communities. Now I sit shoulder to shoulder with people of color. Sometimes I'm uncomfortable. From Ashley in Virginia, I wish I were something else. It's very hard to be proud of the skin you are in when your ancestors were terrible people. From Stephen Schimberg in Washington, D.C. Some of my best friends are, fill in the blank. I envy our kids who seem to be colorblind and take diversity for granted. Having grown up in the 1950s and 60s, I regret that my ability to understand fully, appreciate, and relate to some of my friends' life experiences is limited. Divides based on socioeconomics are significant, but divides based on race seem to be more significant and harder to bridge. If we can't make the divide smaller, we need to build more bridges. From Renee Yates in Evanston, Illinois. Is it because I'm black? Being black in America means that every time you feel slighted or unfairly treated in the larger society, you have to wonder, is it because I'm black? It's a demoralizing and exhausting. From Donna Kresge in Chico, California. My son can wear a hoodie. My son is about the same age as Trayvon Martin, and he often wore clothes like what Trayvon was described as wearing, that infamous hoodie. He also has an aunt in Sanford. I remain convinced that had it been my son who encountered Zimmerman, no one would have died. Why do I believe this? My son is white. From Alexander Heileman in Commerce City, Colorado. Cop can't see us with you. People are afraid in parts of the USA to be seen with white people. I was down in Texas and a couple of black kids asked us if we wanted to play some basketball. We said yes, and we played for about an hour and a half until they said something. We need to go before 7 because the cops come around, and they will be concerned if they see us with you. At that point, I didn't know what to say. We were just having a good time. Many Americans are just becoming acquainted with the concept of whiteness and struggling with the idea of white privilege. From T.R. Kelly, Swiss Home, Oregon. Hillbilly, the wrong kind of white. White trash is a hip cultural joke. N-word is hate speech. Why? From Justin Flagle in Niles, Michigan. Whatever my challenges, race wasn't one. Yes, I faced plenty of challenges throughout my life. Yes, I've worked hard to earn things I've gained in life. Yes, my life hasn't always been easy. Acknowledging my white privilege does not mean those things are untrue or that I've never had problems. It just means that whatever my challenges were, my race was never one of them. White doesn't equal an easy life, but it does remove obstacles. And, you know, I'm the woman who's always suggesting books. So I have another one for you here at this point. It's The White Bonus. It kind of talks about that same subject. Good book. Okay, from Michael J. in Rochester, Minnesota. I'm not guilty, family from Norway. I just feel I'm a little tired of feeling guilty about being a white male. My family came from Norway and Sweden. We never owned slaves, and moving to southern Minnesota didn't even have a plantation. Nevertheless, it seems this issue is somehow my fault as well. Lois Knight, Centennial, Colorado. Born into implicit white privilege, recovering. From Karen Body, Littleton, Colorado. My white guilt is all gone. I'm a good-hearted person who has always been extremely sensitive about people being treated unfairly. I've always stood up for people to be valued and respected, individual to individual. The renewed focus on race is very sad, and I'm done with caring. By the way, I wrote this: racism is garbage. Do not recycle, just toss it. Please stop recycling old garbage. If you're focusing solely on race and seeing everything through it, you're just giving new life to an old evil. And lastly, from Steve Jones, Durham, North Carolina. Taught all wrong, now teaching others. I grew up in a segregated community and with the concept that African Americans, and of course that was not the word that was used, were inferior. It took a long time to get out of that mindset, and even longer to acknowledge the privilege that comes with my white skin. It's a privilege to be able to teach about race in the US today as a way of undoing what I experienced. Norris contends, and I agree, that America does not yet have the stomach to look over its shoulder and stare directly at its dark past. That's why the Confederate flag is still manufactured and sold. That's why slavery is depicted as the shameful act of a small group of Southern plantation owners instead of the massive social and economic framework that permeates almost every aspect of American life. If you read, another book. If you read Isabel Wilkerson's Caste, then you're familiar with an example of how Germany has made an extraordinary effort to come to terms with its past and the horrors of the Holocaust. In Norris's words, we need clear eyes and firm spines, and then we need to chart a path forward to launch re-examinations of America's indigenous people, the eugenics movement, and the forced internment of US citizens and non-citizens of Japanese descent during World War II. Amnesia gets in the way of atonement in America, but it's more than forgetting. It's a determined effort to rewrite history by many. Our inability to face history prevents forward progress, and as Norris puts it, a malignancy that feeds the returning ghost of white supremacy. The Race Card Archive became a place where hundreds of thousands talked honestly about guilt, rage, privilege, displacement, power, romance, allegiance, frustration, or the world as seen through a white gaze. One man said, "People of color are moving into the mainstream now. White is no longer the default word for American." Change is hard. Change is also inevitable. But it's harder to move past the discomfort of change if the anxiety behind it is only discussed in hushed terms and hidden conversations. Thank you.
So when I was driving in, I left a plant on the windshield of my car, and about halfway to town, I saw something flying off, and I wonder what that was. Sorry, Rodney. Thanks for the message, Donna. Good to know and good to move forward. So I'm Joe Daly, a member of your board, and to those of you out there and to everyone in the sanctuary, please join me in our board affirmation. And as the ushers come forward, I hold the world in a vision of harmony and peace. And take your tithes and love offerings and join me in the offertory blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Breakfast at a small cafe, holding hands on a sunny day, when someone in a passing car yells, "Burn in hell, God hates gays." Crying through the news that night, 49 people lost their lives trying to have a good time. Since when did fun become a crime? Pulling close together, they can hardly breathe. The shooter's face comes on the screen. They turn to their TV and scream, "Why do you hate the way I love? Why do you care what I believe? If I'm just trying to get along with everyone, how can you hate? How can you hate the way I love?" It's not only the racial slurs, it's just that they're so undeserved. Stops for paint at the hardware store to cover up hateful words. Cashier gives that look to him based on the color of his skin. Ever since the towers fell, it's hard to be a Muslim American. Unbalanced on the ladder, with his paintbrush and his paint, wasn't even on that plane. How can they think we're all the same? Why do you hate the way I love? How can you care what I believe? If I'm just trying to get along with anyone, how can you hate? How can you hate the way I love? We're so afraid of love, and hate is such a waste of energy and time, yours and mine. On the face of every child, throughout the years, across the miles, love dressed in a million styles shows its face with every smile. And if you live your life in fear, then you won't find the answers here. Hatred has no home with us. True love will never disappear. True love will never disappear.
Now, as the ushers come forward, I want to give one more thank you to Donna for your important and impactful messages. Dean, amazing energy. Please come back. Let us pray. Loving Spirit, we give thanks for all the fathers who have been so important in our lives. We are grateful for all the many blessings and gifts that we experience daily. We are thankful for the offerings received today and throughout the week. And we continue our prayers for our world and our nation, praying for peace each and every day. We celebrate Juneteenth and know the work to build a better world for all is ours to do. We hold hope in our hearts for our next generation of leaders, knowing they will create inroads to bring us together as a nation and a world. And we continue our prayers for all here in our community facing challenges. Please hold them in your love. Amen. As we bring our service to a close, I invite you to please stand and join me in our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is and all is well. And now as we close with the peace song, if you are comfortable, you may hold hands with your neighbor or just place your hand on your heart.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joy